Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com. Z Nation. Z Nation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. Z Nation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
Hola, world.
Blessings and greetings to the entire universe of sentient beings. Bless up, everybody. This is Zena Dagaya, and this is Z Nation. We're broadcasting live on SoFloRadio.com right here in Hollywood, Florida. Woo. Welcome. So I just pulled up, depending on the kind of friends you have this week, your timeline is either flooding with Wayne Dyer or Kanye West.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
VMAs and...
Yeah, I've been flooded with Wayne Dyer. And I just pulled this up, and we can do the whole show going over 10 of Wayne Dyer's top quotes. But, I think for a lot of us, Wayne Dyer was, for me, he was the one that started me on the path. And it was my friend Jim Clements who introduced me to Wayne Dyer in my early 20s. And it took me down my rabbit hole. Okay, so here's a couple of quotes. I'm just going to randomly pick one. These are 10 Wayne Dyer quotes that will inspire happiness, and they're also on the Z Nation Radio Facebook page. Oh, this is, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. How people treat you is their karma. How you react is yours. I really love this third one. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself.
Yeah, that's the one I've been working on a lot.
We could pick any of those and just do a whole show. Just talk about that. How when you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. Because everything I find in another to judge is something within me that I haven't completed for myself. Like, I am still judging myself for that thing. And as long as I'm judging myself, I'm going to judge you for sure. Yeah. We did this thing once in a women's workshop where we had Post-its, and we wrote on the Post-its all of the insecurities we had around our own body. So let's say you thought your knee was fat, you would write, "My knee is fat," and you would stick it on your knee. Or if you thought your booty was too small, I mean, you would be shocked to see what some of the stuff people write, like that, the conversations that we have in our head around our body, And then once you did that, you were covered in Post-its, as you can imagine. But now that wasn't the point of the exercise. The point of it was to take those Post-its now, turn to your partner, and put them on them. Because if I judge my knees as too fat, what am I going to do? I'm going to look at everybody's knees and say, oh, their knees are kind of fat. Oh, look, her knees aren't fat. No, she has skinny knees. I'm using the knee example because I think it's hilarious. It could apply for anything.
How slender and streamlined her knees are.
It could be breasts. It could be curly hair versus straight hair. It could be long eyelashes versus short eyelashes. It could be the proportion of your torso with the proportion of your legs, whatever it is that we compare to others, But so when you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. All right, one more. Be miserable or motivate yourself. Whatever has to be done, it's always your choice.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's a little bit of Wayne Dyer, a little moment of silence to honor his transition into this plane and reminding us who we are and celebrating his transition into the next plane, whatever that is for his soul and his light. Aho, great spirit.
Indeed. May you journey well, brother.
Jael just entered the studio. Welcome, Jael.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm gonna chat a little bit more about myself, and then we're gonna get into you.
It's always a good topic.
And you can jump in anytime because I'm sharing a little bit about what last Thursday I came in to do the show and I couldn't find my purse, and in the middle of the show I started getting dings on my phone, and there were these overdraft notices, so somebody was joyriding with my check cards while I was recording the show.
Nice.
Yeah. And I left here and I said, well, I'm going to go take care of this. So last Thursday, I spent the whole day out in the world. I'm going to say like the real world. But, out in the world going to these public places. Like I went to the banks, obviously, and canceled my cards. Mm-hmm. And then I went to 2 different police stations to, do a report for my stolen purse.
Yeah.
And I went to the wrong one first, and I just interacted with a lot of people I usually don't interact with, like police officers and the people in the police department. And then I made it over to the DMV.
Super Matrix day.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, the Department of Motor Vehicle, and it was the one in Pembroke Pines, and it's a small one, so they had a lot of people waiting outside because there wasn't space inside, and it was 120 degrees. It was really hot. So it was like the experience gave me the experience of, you need to slow down, so I had to cancel everything I had scheduled that day to deal with this. I had to fly the next day, so I needed my driver's license, yeah. But it was an opportunity to really be the observer of a world that maybe I don't go into as much because I'm often in my bubble at the yoga studios in what I would call like an environment that matches my consciousness. Yeah. And so to be thrown into it's really a different vortex, and we were just talking about that yesterday with my friend Jared, and I want to talk a little bit about this event that's going on this Friday. So one of the things that we're doing is, we're noticing there is a gap that is occurring between, people that are awakening and that are aware of what unity consciousness is, yes. What it is to live, not about ourselves, what it is to live a life of service to humanity. Ultimately, That's what we're here for. We're here to serve and to leave this world better than how we found it somehow. Each one of us. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that maybe are not awakened to this purpose yet. So, still swirling in the illusion, the Maya of this physical plane and all the distractions it brings. So what we're creating with Jared Krupnik, a very good friend of mine and also the founder of Energetic Planet. If you all haven't heard of Jared, he's a genius. He's a very brilliant engineer mind that is looking at, we're looking at consciousness and how it's really evolving right now. There's a lot of awakening. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff happening. Now, as people are awakening, what's missing at the moment is an intelligent structure so that people have a roadmap to enter this world that has so many components, so many people, so many levels of learning and teaching and understanding what's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. You remember when you woke up, I remember like when I started like reading, watching those YouTube videos, getting into really the meat of what was going on in the world, beyond what we see in the news, beyond what we see in the movies, beyond what we see at the surface. There's a lot underneath there and above here that we tune into. And first there's this like shock. How could this be happening? Yeah. Wait a minute. Like, remember...
How come nobody told me?
How come nobody told me? I want to go back to playing video games, not thinking about this stuff. But it's real.
Ignorance is bliss.
And there is a shock, and what follows a shock is the anger. Like, damn it. And I'm going to go protest, and I'm going to do something about this. And it's all coming from this reaction to this.
I got to go wake everybody up.
Yes. I'm going to post a lot of nasty things on my Facebook, and I'm going to keep posting them. And then, I'm going to be in people's faces who don't get it. And that's just the initial reaction. It's human. Mm-hmm. It's like anything else. You cheated on me. How dare you? And then we get to a place of, okay, things are the way things are because that's the way things are. Mm-hmm. What's the sound of one hand clapping? It's the sound of one hand clapping. Things are as they are. When we can really just accept things being as they are. And it's not like a resignation, like, oh man, there's nothing I can do about this. I'm just going to go keep playing video games.
Yeah, that's one of those levels too.
And some people get stuck there, you know, and sometimes we go back into it and we come back out. Like Wayne Dyer says, be miserable or motivate yourself.
Yep.
And sometimes motivating myself is just plunking myself around people who inspire me, or, you know, it may not be something necessarily that I do, but just the environment I put myself in, or what I choose to be, what I choose to listen to. I say I choose to listen to. Sometimes we choose to listen to the voice in our head, you know, and then being around like-minded brings us out of our heads. So, so I was sharing about that, and, you know, the engineering of consciousness, like structures for us to create roadmaps for everything that is awakening humanity, like a directory of all the healers, a directory of all the places in the planet where consciousness is held at a high level. Calendars of events where we can discover everything that's happening, really organizing ourselves in a way that as people are awakening and moving into that new level of consciousness, it's organized intelligently.
And very accessible.
Yes, accessible, and not so like, for example, like, you know, if you wanted to know how I got to where I got to, I can't just give that to you. What would it look like if I can just give you my roadmap and you can check it out for yourself, and then you create your own roadmap to how your awakening will occur?
It makes sense.
Yeah. So that's happening this Friday. It's just the beginning of something that we've been creating for years. We're really just creating by networking and bringing the community together. You know, having yoga studios realize that we're here to create together rather than, like, you know, compete against each other. Bringing light workers together so that we can share ideas on how you do things and how I do things, and how we can come together to reach the 80% of the population that we're not reaching, that don't even understand what the heck we're talking about when we say, would you like a Reiki healing session? What the heck is that?
Exactly. They don't know Sanskrit, and you got to find a way to translate that to the masses.
Translate it in, like, needs, you know, like if we look out in the world right now, you know, and I went out and I was at the DMV, and, you know, I really got present, like, there is a lot of suffering. You see it in people's faces, their skin, you know, and I say them, it's like, I see it because I see it in myself. I see it in my brothers and my sisters, and really realizing that everybody is ready to awaken now. And even if you think you're awakened, there's still another level to awaken to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I heard you say ignorance is bliss, and people say that like, they mean, like, you know, if you don't know, then it's better than if you know. But I just heard it in a different way, that, like, if you're always ignorant, not like ignorant, but you're always seeking to come out of ignorance, then that's the bliss. Like, never thinking that you know everything, but blissing over that I don't know, and I can always, you know, open up to more of what's available for me in this life.
Child, you know, when you know, I don't need to know the details. Mommy and daddy got it. I'll just be ignorant and play.
Ignorance and bliss. So, I wanted to mention something that happened this morning. I was talking to Sunset about it. This morning we got a phone call at I Love Yoga from FPL, you know, the power, saying they're going to shut it down in 45 minutes if we don't forward $1,000 to them. So, you know, I said to my, it was very like, damn. So I got an emergency phone call, and I said, you know, that's so strange because we've paid it, and, you know, I'm so clear we've paid it. And Moses was on his way to go wire this money, and he said, wait a minute, you know, if Z's saying we paid it, let me call FPL. So he called, and the woman said, no, this is fraud, don't pay it. And while he was talking to her, I was on the phone, and the person called, and Moses merged them in. So, and he said, hey, you have 20 minutes left, are you making the deposit? It was like a movie. You know, and the woman at FPL was like, where are you calling from? And she started interacting with him, and when he got that she was on to her, they hung up, you know, and it was such an interesting experience. You know, first of all, obviously we're relieved that we didn't, you know, forward that money on, right? And it also got us present to when we are vulnerable when we are open, like, Moses and I were both healing this morning, and we weren't in our most powerful energetic space. When we're not at that space, when we're caught up in the minutia of the physical world, the little things, the bills, the
Push and pull.
yeah, the subtle energies that are not so subtle, when we're like, when your heart's expanded and you're in your practice and you're tuned in, you're connected, right? So that kind of stuff, just, if first of all, you won't attract it, right? And second of all, if it does come your way, like the white light and the shield is just too wide and it's too bright to even let it in, we would have caught up and like, but it took us a few more minutes to catch on, and it got me really present to like, wow, it's like, gotta keep your eye on the prize. We gotta keep our hearts expanded. We gotta keep our shield, and I don't mean shield like to protect ourselves, but our auric field. The wider the auric field is around the body, the more light there is around us.
A chosen vibrational state.
Yes.
This is my...
And the wider it is, the more we say what's around us. Like it, and the stronger your field is, you can be the clearing for others rather than being at the effect of other people's clearing. So that just put us in the space this morning of like, wow, today I'm really focusing on raising my own consciousness to see what's missing that would have had me be vulnerable this morning. It's just an opportunity for me to look. Maybe, for me, my practice, my spiritual practice, my meditation, my yoga, that's what expands the field for me, and looking at, what can I put in so I can keep raising my consciousness, and really being grateful for the experience of somebody, attempting to fraud me, and also being grateful for the experience of somebody taking my purse out of my car and using my credit cards. I mean, I just learned so much from that about myself, and really having compassion for humanity and myself. Because ultimately, we create everything around us, right? We attract the experiences. And the pitfall to be in that kind of thinking is it's very human and natural to be like, oh, I attracted this to myself. What did I do wrong? This is all my fault. And that is not empowering. That's going into a space of blame, of guilt, versus I'm responsible for everything that shows up in this realm, the good and the bad, and I can own it. And when I say that and I'm empowered, that's the real deal. That's the real deal. So listen, you guys, it's September 4th? September 3rd, okay? So this is my birthday month. And I created something that I'm celebrating my birthday month. So,
wow.
Yeah, I learned this.
No birthday weekend.
This is huge for me.
2015.
I'm really committed to like really honoring who I am. Really loving myself and really like walking my talk.
Yeah.
And I've always been about that, about self-love. And of course, we teach what we need to learn the most. And the reason I've been such a proponent for self-love is because I know that's what I've needed the most in my life. And so for me to take a whole month and celebrate every day was actually like, so I was inspired by my friend Millie, who I was visiting in Asheville. And I asked her when her birthday was. She goes, the month of April. And she said every day she does something new. And she does something that she's never done before. So that's how she celebrates her birthday. So when September 1st came, I texted her and I'm like, girl, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do I do to celebrate my birthday today? Do you have any ideas? So she sent me some ideas. So this is some of the things she wrote. Take a different route to a place. Go leave a love note in a book at Barnes & Noble's. Drink something or eat something you've never done before. Give a certificate to someone for a free class. Make a call to someone you haven't spoken to in years or send a text letting them know you're thinking of them. Sit up and count stars and take a picture.
Beautiful.
Every day, do something generous for you, though you for someone or someone else, for the entire month. One day, I printed out 40 love notes to strangers and I left it on windshields, random ones. she did the same amount as her birthday. So if you're turning 35, which I am, then I would do 35 love notes and give them to 35 strangers. This is one, and there's a couple of other ones. Take a hike somewhere or walk on a different beach. Listen to this one. Go to the airport and greet a stranger with a hug or a flower, welcoming them to South Florida. Can you imagine us doing that?
I would love that if somebody did that for me.
Right?
I came off the plane in
you,
New York
random
and said,
person.
"Thank you for coming."
Hey!
Last April, I spent 2 different days taking candy and flowers to 2 strangers. One day to a nursing home and another to the VA hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, so and then I just got present, like, okay, wow, then there's a lot of things I can do to celebrate my birthday. And, you know, her idea is the more things that she did for others, the bigger she became for herself and the better she felt about herself. And that was her way of honoring herself for her birthday.
Yeah, you really feel that abundant space when you're giving away. You're like, I have this to give, this
Yeah.
love, this
Yeah.
kindness.
And love don't
Consideration.
cost a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just giving it away freely. And I could see how, you know, I'll tell you, September 1st came about and I wasn't feeling like doing any of those things, you know, but it was all about me and being in my head and what I was dealing with. And in that moment, like Wayne Dyer says, you could be miserable or you could choose to motivate yourself. And that could be, you know, writing out love notes and sending it out to 10 strangers or calling someone you haven't spoken to and just letting them know you appreciate them and you love them for no other reason, just calling them for that. So birthday month, yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, right.
I like that. I'm gonna do that for my birthday.
So let's play it. We're gonna play a little mantra. I've been doing the Adi Shakti mantra as part of the assignment for the Shakti dance teacher training that I'm doing. So between now and the next class, this is our assignment, is to do this mantra. So I wanted to share it with you guys. The Adi Shakti mantra it's the mantra that invokes the Shakti energy. And the Shakti energy is the force behind everything. It's like it's what makes everything in the universe tick. It's the power behind your electricity. It's the force behind the wind. It's the behind your voice. Shakti is life, and it translates into different elements. Like when it comes into the human body, one way that Shakti manifests itself is prana, which is life force, our breath. So this mantra has 4 names for Shakti. So there's Adi Shakti, Sarab Shakti, Pritam Bhagavati, and Kundalini. And the English translations, so the first one, Adi Shakti, it means I bow or I call on the primal power. The second one, Sarab Shakti, I bow to or I call on all-encompassing power and energy. Pritam Bhagavati, I bow to or I call on that through which God creates. Sit with that. And then Kundalini, I bow to or I call on the creative power of the Kundalini, the divine mother power. All right, so if y'all are watching, I'm going to do the celestial communication that we've been learning in Shakti dance. And if you're just listening, just listen and feel that primal mother energy.
This is awesome. I've never heard this to music before. I mean, we did it in the teacher's training.
Adi Shakti mantra. So this tunes us into the frequency of the Divine Mother and to the primal protective generating energy. It says that chanting it eliminates fears and fulfills desires. Yogi Bhajan said, when a woman chants the Kundalini mantra, God clears the way. It's not religion, it is a reality. Woman is not born to suffer, and woman needs her own power. Yeah, Yogi Bhajan did a lot for women. Like, a lot of his teachings was to empower women because he knew about the Shakti energy and he knew the power that comes from the feminine power. And it's not only for women. I've been teaching this in my classes, and I have a lot of men that come to class, and they've been loving it. You know, it's balancing out the polarities within us. And we all have that feminine and masculine energy. So the masculine has just been like dominating men and women, you know, so bringing more Shakti into our lives. It rounds our edges. It softens things, and it reveals the dance of life, and that's the surrender to what is, you know, and not just be like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through this. It's like, no, I'm just gonna dance. I'm gonna dance through this. I'm going to breathe through this. So we'll be back to discover more about Jael, what he's been up to, and some downloads he has for us right after these messages from our beautiful and important sponsors. Thank you so much for supporting Z Nation. And if you want to partner with us, be part of the family, and sponsor the show, please visit us at ZNationRadio.com. We'll be right back, right here on SoFloRadio.com.
Tune in to get tuned in. This is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
Hi, this is Zaina Dagaya, and I'd love to share with you about my good friend Nicole of Legit Fitness in-home training and yoga. She's a certified yoga teacher, and she's an amazing and experienced trainer that can design a program to fit your specific needs and goals. She's so cool. She's super committed to making fitness and health fun and accessible for everyone. Plus, your first week is free as a new client. Here's how you set up your first session. Either call 305-335-5590 or visit www.getlegitfit.com. GETLEGITFIT. Getlegitfit.com. 305-335-5590. Do it now!
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. Help with flexibility and exercise.
Julie has been teaching kids for over 8 years in after-school programs, summer camps, and local studios.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Now, back to Z Nation, your weekly dose of inspiration on SoFloRadio.com.
Attention all you rule breakers, you misfits and troublemakers, all you free spirits and pioneers, all you visionaries and nonconformists. Everything the establishment has told you is wrong with you is actually what's right with you. You see things others don't. You are hardwired to change the world. Unlike 9 out of 10 people, your mind is irrepressible, and this threatens authority. You were born to be a revolutionary. You can't stand rules because in your heart you know there's a better way. You have strengths dangerous to the establishment, and it wants them eliminated. So your whole life you've been told your strengths were weaknesses. Now I'm telling you otherwise. Your impulsivity is a gift. Impulses are your key to the miraculous. Your distractibility is an artifact of your inspired creativity. Your mood swings reflect the natural pulse of life. They give you unstoppable energy when you're high, and deep soulful insight when you're low. Been diagnosed with a disorder? That's society's latest way to deny its own illness by pointing the finger at you. Your addictive personality? is just a symptom of your vast, underused capacity for heroic creative expression and spiritual connection. Your utter lack of repression, your wide-eyed idealism, your unmitigated open mind. Didn't anyone ever tell you? These are the traits shared by the greatest pioneers and visionaries, innovators, revolutionaries, procrastinators, and drama queens, activists on the social scene, space cadets and mavericks, philosophers and derelicts, business suits flying fighter jets, football stars and sex addicts, celebrities with ADD, alcoholics who seek novelty, first responders, prophets and saints, mystics and change agents. We are all the same, you know, 'cause we're all affected by the way. We are all the same, you know, 'cause we're all attracted to the flame. You know in your heart there's a natural order, something more sovereign than any man-made rules or laws could ever express. And this natural order is called the way. The way is the eternal substrate of the cosmos. It guides the very current of time and space. The way is known
The way
by
is known
some
by
as
the
the
will of God, divine providence, the Holy Spirit, the implicate order, the Tao,
reverse entropy,
life force. But for now, we'll simply call it the way.
The way is reflected
So, yeah, the Wayseer Manifesto. If you want to listen to the whole thing, is pretty awesome. I like to play that in class. Just wakes up something in us, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. Full body, head to toe chills.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
He says some stuff that I was like, wow, that
What?
explains a lot.
Yes. Your distractibility is a gift. Yeah. Somebody was, Sal was here last week. He was sharing about, like, he's a light worker and he works on people, like, you know, he massages them, but he also works on different levels. And if it wasn't for his ability to be, you know, ADD-ish, you know, he wouldn't be able to do what he does. The ability to have his attention in so many places,
Hold
you
all
know,
that
it's
space.
yeah, it's a gift and it's needed right now to do the work that we do. But it's like it can't be something that uses us. We have to use it. It's a tool. So once you're aware of it, you don't have to be like, oh, I have ADD. No, you have a gift that allows you to have this amazing power to be at different levels and layers of things, and it could be used at different parts in life, you know, and maybe in different dimensions too, like not only in this plane. And that's why we have this gift. So, Jael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Zaina.
So
Thank you.
besides being my friend and my brother, Jael is also a father.
Yeah.
He's you're the founder of Harmonic Instruments. I love that name, in which you've developed many things, including the Atlantean soils, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
You're also an initiate in the order of Melchizedek. You are a yoga teacher, a minister, a light worker, and a healer out in the world, just doing what you do. So thank you for being on here. I've been looking forward to having you on just to listen to you speak.
I'm honored
Yeah,
to be here.
we can like just talk about anything you want.
Let's talk about some fruit. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I texted Jai this morning. I texted him bagel or fruits. We were wondering if he would pick up, you know, either one for us, and he responded fruits. So we said, "Yeah, will you bring some?"
It's not the way I received that.
It was confusing. I
Yeah.
apologize.
I like it though.
Well, you know, we're working on the psychic thing. We're working on communicating without texting. So we're still, you know, we're working on it. We're polishing off our third eye and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we all got things to work on.
So, okay, well, let's talk a little bit about, I want to know, like, where you came from. Like, where did you realize that you had a gift to be who you are, which is Jael? You know, were you always like this growing up, or did you have an aha moment where you shifted?
You know, it was a bit of both. I mean, when I was really young, I perceive that there was like an intimate connection between me and like this living earth thing that I was a part of. And I was a very vibrant child. But like most of us, that came with a ton of pain, right? Because I didn't live in a world where people would not only recognize that, but acknowledge it. So at some point, I shut it down. I actually even remember the time where I was like, I don't want to feel this. So I chose not to feel anything. And my feelings have always been deeply connected to this present moment, like magic that we're all a part of.
Yeah.
So I stayed in that state for a long time. Suffering, but at this continuous wavelength that got so deep that I was like, what is suffering? What is loneliness? I don't feel these things. All I feel is this like hollow numbness inside.
Now, did you go into writing? Did you used to write a lot as a kid?
I would always make forays into these things and find that as soon as I did, these channels would start opening back up. And for the most part, I would quickly move away from them. Because as soon as I opened up those channels, like what was coming with them is just years of suppressed emotions. So I would get into writing and get into poetry, and it would just flow out, and I would have this amazing creation in front of me. But on the other end, so would all these raw and like jagged emotions. So I'd be like, you know what, writing's not my thing. Let me go back to something else. And I moved in and out with that for a long time. But the whole time in my private writings, like in my journals, I would always communicate that I felt like there was a sleeping giant inside of me. Even looking back at my own journals, because I do that periodically, I recognize that I used that terminology for maybe 7 or 8 years before I actually woke up. That I felt this sleeping power inside of me, and that if I ever really let go, that I would be a force on this planet. I just didn't know for what at that point. So I was like very untrusting of this giant. What happens if he comes out and he just wants to mess everything up?
Oh, I think a lot of people can relate to what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for sharing about that.
I sure hope so.
I think it's the thing that Marianne Williamson says. It's the thing that scares us the most is that grand light within us that's that giant. So what is it to be an initiate in the Order of Melchizedek?
Yeah. The
Tell us more.
Melchizedek is the sacred order of priests and priestesses who have, historically, they've always kept the ancient wisdoms of the mystery schools intact. And that was their mission on this planet, to make sure that through the rise and fall of governments and political ideas and religious institutions, that the true path of being connected to the way, this ancient way of the cosmos was always kept safe and whole, so that when the initiates came along, they would be, through experience, exposed to this way of becoming once again. And
you went through this?
Yeah, I went to Mount Shasta during the big celestial convergence, the last major one, the December 21st, 2012. I had already been awakened by that time for about 3 or 4 years, and my then guides were very specifically communicating that I needed to do something with intention on that day. I had begun dabbling in rituals and some of the more sacred ceremonies that came to me intuitively, but I knew I wanted to be a part of something sort of bigger and more ancient. So I communicated with my then friend and teacher that this was on my heart, and immediately he puts in front of me an Order of Melchizedek initiation that was happening on Mount Shasta exactly on that day. So it was so,
divine.
It was already in place. And
how many people were initiated with you?
there were 32 of us of the initiates and 3 of the facilitators. And the whole thing was very specifically engineered around geometric numbers. It actually turned out that particular initiation was full, but literally a day before I purchased the initiation, 2 people canceled. And so me and my then friend and teacher filled those slots.
because it's a specific number. Obviously, it's very specific with the numbers. Now, I think a lot of people may be familiar with like Drumvalo Melchizedek.
Yes.
So what is the connection with the Melchizedek order and Drumvalo Melchizedek? Is he like an avatar of Melchizedek?
Absolutely. Drunvalo is, in essence, an embodiment of one of these priests that has taken on a human flesh.
Is he like also an initiate?
Yes, very high level. Within the order itself, there's the first levels of initiation, which are facilitated by other people and mystery groups and going to sacred places. And then after a certain amount of levels, it's literally something that the Ascended Masters initiate you to in higher and higher realms. And with Drumvalo, they started unveiling some of the geometric truths of our universe that have been kind of secret and not secret, right? Hidden right out in the open for a long time, and decoding them for him. And so he became this avatar for bringing and bridging the gap of these patterns of creation that the universe follows in a way that would make them very real and tangible in people's lives, in all of our lives, because his impact has been vast and very profound.
Yeah. Yeah, I've read both his volumes. The Secrets to the Flower of Life. Just explains everything.
Yes.
If you ever wanted to know about anything. Wow, that's really cool. So, and is there like a practice that you take on after that? Like, is that a space that you come from when you teach? Is that where you channel from?
Yes, and in a lot of ways, it depends on what I'm there to bring into that space. If I'm offering anything that's wisdom based or really dealing with form, structure, geometry, or practical practices that really enhance people's lives, then yeah, that's usually the space that it comes from. I've also been initiated into several priestess orders that channels a whole bunch of different energies that are mainly about singing and dancing and connecting to the earth, and you hold a beautiful space of that. So I'm glad that this was actually preceded by the femininity, because it allowed me to balance it.
Good. No accidents, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, and then I'd love to hear more about your Harvia.
Harvaya, yeah.
How do you spell that?
Harvaya.
Harvaya.
Yeah, it's a union of heaven and earth. I've actually found out later that it's the name of a Vedic deva who herself was the union of all of the molecules of the cosmos in physical form. So the name meant literally.
Oh, really? But this name was channeled to you at first? Okay, and this is the whole story?
Yeah, when I woke up, because I had a spontaneous awakening, I went from being unconscious to conscious in a single second, moment, space and eternity. I don't really know how to define that. But as soon as I came back from that, there was this story just pouring through me. And it came with its own name, its own characters, its own way of being. And it's really been my primary teacher of spirituality, because as I've connected more with this world and with the teachings that these characters were receiving, I received them as well in a very real way. And Harvaya is this mythology that is bridging its way into our present reality so that we can, as a species, collectively create our new story of our relationship to the divine, our relationship to each other, and our relationship to the planet.
This sounds like this sounds like the Vedic stories that were handed down to us. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
All the mythology of Hinduism is translated into human terms so that we can better understand it and translate it into our lives. It's not about, the elephant having a head with a human body. It's about what it represents, right? And that we can learn from those stories. And I just got present to you, like, downloading also a mythical story
Yeah.
that can help people.
I joked when once I was truly introduced to the Vedas that if I would have found these before I had woken up and been introduced to Harvaya, I would have been a Vedic scholar, because their mythologies are so rich and
Yes.
deep and also so relevant. As soon as you close the book, you look outside and you see Vishnu and you see Parvati, and you see how they move in physical space around you, and it's easy to relate. For me growing up, that was the saddest part. The stories that I was being given had no connection to my real life. I would be given these very holier than thou teachings, and then I would look in my real day-to-day life and say, there is no relationship between these characters in this story and what they're going through and what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through. So that disconnect literally just made me feel disconnected from our time, like disconnected from reality. Like either I wanted to live in that world where it was relevant, or I wanted the story to be relevant to my life.
What was it like for you to go from, to just one day wake up and just start pouring the story out? Like, what was the experience for you of having this story come out?
It was amazing and terrible and intense and like invigorating at a molecular level. I slept maybe 2 or 3 hours. I would meditate and connect with the world and create. That was really I lived in this world during that time frame where every part of me was dedicated to really integrating this new level of energy and knowledge. But one of the first things, and why I said it was terrible, was that I wanted to immediately wake up all of the people I cared about. So I went from being asleep and like kind of a problem child who was never really had his stuff together to all of a sudden knowing the secrets of the universe. And I went to everybody to try and convert them in some way or another. And
Yes. And that freaks people out.
yeah, and I saw that. Like
People
I saw
are-
the
we're very
fear and
cynical.
like is he imbalanced? I started giving my stuff away. Like for the next 6 months, I would find people who would appreciate it more than me, and I literally gifted them with all of my worldly
There
possessions.
must be something wrong with you that you're giving your worldly possessions.
My mom thought I was gonna commit suicide. This is one of the signs of about being ready. I was ready to leave the world, no doubt, but I was not committing suicide.
Yeah,
I was
not
ready
in
to
that
live,
way.
You
and I
were
just
shedding
didn't need the
another
stuff.
kind of death. There was a death happening, but it wasn't that death.
But it was so powerful. I mean, that was the main thing. It was tremendous, tremendous power constantly from the time that I woke until I slept, flowing through me in a way that it would keep my hand shaking, or my voice just at the edge of that tremble, kind of like how it is now. It's that same power back then that I had no name for, no real relationship with, and no way to manage. So it would flow through me, and I would just open my mouth, and it would come out. I'd be like, oh, wait, this is causing ripples in the world. I need to be more discerning with it, right? And give it to people who are ready for that, and then allow it to be an internal thing until then. So
Yes. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Is the world is, people are ready, and there's different levels that people can hear it at. You
Yes.
know, and you speak how you speak. And you're gonna reach the people that you reach, and the ones that are waiting for you as their teacher. You will appear to them, and same thing with you and me. And like, the age of like trying to bring people to spirituality is this ain't it. This is like, you're ready, you come to the teachings, and there's a lot going on the planet as far as consciousness and teachings and spirituality. There are a lot of teachers.
yes.
The Kundalini rose in between 2008 and 2012 in South America. Do you know about the movement of that?
I mean, I've been tracking the energy of it, but the specifics, no.
I don't know the specifics either, but I do know that there is just like when it moved, whatever 60 something thousand years ago when it moved to Nepal, and it created a lot of teachers such as Jesus and Buddha and so many other ones in that area. You know, the Kundalini has shifted to it is said like in the Peru area and surroundings, and what that means is there are many teachers that are awakening to that they are teachers.
Yes.
So there's definitely not a lack of that. It's just like, you know, if you're open to the teachings, they're there. And if you're open as a teacher to share your teachings, there are a lot of students out there that are just waiting for their teacher.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't speak the same language, so it's important that we just listen to people. You know, listen where people are coming from. Listen to what people need and listen to what's important to people. And we'll hear God in all of it.
So says the divine feminine.
Aho. Aho, great. Priestess and, minister. So you're a minister also. Is that from the Melchizedek order? Or is
I
that
would
separate?
imagine if I chose to at that point, I probably could have donned it. But no, my path has always been very much guided. And as I began preparing myself to share these with people, a lot of what I've been guided into is getting the certifications and the credentials necessary for this society to be able to share them in a way that allows them to be received.
Isn't that interesting?
In space.
Yes.
And one of those things was I was put in front of the Universal Life Church, and they offered me a ministership, indoctrination, I think is what it's called, into their overarching order, as long as you're using that to help and to aid the consciousness in expanding. That is literally the requirements. So I said yes.
Yeah. Whatever spreads the white light, white magic. Awesome. So Jael, you know, maybe we can leave the listeners with something. I think one of the things that you offer is that you, you know, you're in both worlds, right? You have one foot in this world, one foot in the other, and you have the experience of both worlds. You know, you're very, I want to say like you're touching both worlds. So what would you give as advice for somebody who's just awakening on the planet right now? You know, what would you give them as a piece of advice? Where to start?
Yeah. I'll offer to them the advice that would have served me the best, that your internal barometer around truth and what serves you is the one that's the most refined. The greatest teacher sits inside of you. And the more that we cultivate that still space to experience it, the more that we appreciate when it's being offered outside of us, and the better listeners we become. You know, with this rise of teachers has also just been a rise of information, and it's easy to get lost in it.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming.
So the way to navigate through that is to, you know, meditate, sit with, just clear out your real ability to be inward in how you feel in reception to things. And you get this very intimate connection with your truth. And then from there, you know, the world just becomes a series of explorations. And no one holds the ultimate truth for you. You hold that for yourself. But each one of us have little pieces of it that we're going to offer to you along the way.
Like reminding us. I love what you said about that each one of us has a piece of truth within us. And it's like once we get that there's nothing missing. There's nothing missing for you to be whole and perfect and complete. Like, it's already there. You're done. You've been cooked. This is how you turned out.
Ding.
Ding. You know, and to try to have it any other way is crazy. You know, but then, like you said, we can, like, you know, through the mirror of others, we can discover those things that have been, like, you know, mounted on us almost. Like, you know, entities and stories and ideas that are not necessarily true around who you are. So thank you so much, Jael, for sharing with us. Thank you for being who you are, you know, and being a light worker, really, in all that you do.
Blessings.
Yeah, thank you for coming last minute today as we and saying yes.
Perfect.
Awesome. So I wanted to close today with, taking from what you said, this mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, is one of my favorite ones, and it translates to Om Namo. I bow to the subtle divine wisdom. I bow to the subtle divine wisdom. Gurudev Namo, I bow to the divine teacher within. So this calls upon that natural, the real teacher we have within all of us. And when you said to trust it, to really trust it. So let's tune in right now together. So if you're somewhere where you can be seated, sit down. If you're somewhere where you can close your eyes, please close your eyes. Let's breathe together. Let's initiate our consciousness rising together. For when we come together, we can rise. When we come together, we can climb the peak. When we come together, we can be strong within our vulnerabilities. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to the subtle divine wisdom. I bow to the divine teacher within me. I bow to the chain of teachers that have come before, and I recognize that Guru, that which guides from darkness to light, that Guru lies within me, now, for always and forever. Breathe it in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. This mantra is a tool so that we can relate instantly to the divine teacher within us. Trust yourself now. Feel and be with your own power. Today, step out. Step up. Choose your power. Choose to be joyful. And choose you. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just here to remind you that you are thebomb.com. And we're all in this together. So thank you for the work you're doing out there as we're doing our stuff over here. We're all in the same boat doing it together. Bless you. Namaste. Peace out.
You are listening to SoFloRadio.com.